Welcome to the Back in Time podcast with Kyle and JD, where every week we jump into our DeLorean, cruise to 88 miles per hour, and travel back in time to review our favorite films. Every week we talk about current cinema, the latest trailers, and we pick a new favorite film every single episode.
But I need a nuclear reaction to generate the 1.21 gigawatts of electricity. 1.21 gigawatts!
Don't say that! Never say that! Goonies never say die!
We're the best, we're the beautiful, we're the only Ghostbusters.
Now, here's your host, Kyle Autry, and his co-host, JD. Welcome back to the Back in Time podcast. I am your host, Kyle Autry, joined as always by my co-host, JD. JD, how are you, man?
I'm ready to roll, and by that I mean throwing a ball down a lane and bashing white things.
I love it, man. So we're going to be having a special guest on the full review on Wednesday. Would you like to introduce the guest or reintroduce in this case?
So we have our familiar friend, my little brother and partner in crime, Jesse, will be joining us by request. He asked that we do Kingpin. He's ahead of us. He's watched this movie multiple times in the last few days. He's studied in the Asian arts of Bill Murray's hairpiece.
I like it. I also feel like this was a good choice for him because the music, like Jumanji, is not going to scare him. So this should be a good episode for him to jump on. So I want to take a second before we jump into the trailer and thank our sponsor, Bunny17 Media, who helps bring you this podcast completely free. Go over to their website now, Bunny17 Media. Use promo code BACKINTIMEPOD at checkout and save 15% on your entire order. Also, while you're online, go ahead and subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcast and rate, review. Make sure you share with your friends, word of mouth. That's going to help support this show and help us continue to grow every single week. So, JD, we'll jump into some first memories of Kingpin here, which is a 1996 comedy film. When's the first time you remember watching Kingpin?
Dude, I saw this movie in theaters. And I remember the first time I saw the trailer for this movie was before Beavis and Butthead Does America?
Do America, I believe.
They Do America. Is that Beavis and Butthead Do America? I guess it's proper English. And I remember seeing that and seeing the trailer and being like, oh, no, a bowling movie, get out, done. There's not many bowling movies.
Yeah, there's not a lot of bowling movies. We covered an iconic one just a couple episodes in our archive, Big Lebowski. Check that out if you haven't yet. But yeah, this was, to me, I guess, definitely the first bowling movie. And then also one, I don't think I saw this in theater. I probably didn't watch this until maybe I was like 14 or 15. So probably a couple years later on VHS rental. But I love this movie. It's got an amazing cast and it's super funny. It's kind of like it's that dry, like really quirky kind of humor too.
Yeah,
which I like.
I mean, for what it's worth, this is an underrated 90s comedy. I mean, Bill Murray, Woody Harrelson, Randy Quaid. Are you kidding me?
Right. And
it's a sports movie. This hits all of the quotas of a knockdown, sell-out crowd.
To your recollection, I mean, was this the first time you can remember seeing Woody Harrelson in a movie, or were you a fan of White Boy Can't Jump by then? Or White Man Can't Jump, I should say.
If you recall, in a previous episode, I don't remember which one, I told the story about watching White Men Can't Jump with my grandfather.
Okay.
And making it a handful of minutes through the movie, and there was so much swearing in White Man Can't Jump. He stands up again, Italian family. What the fuck is this shit? You fuckers can't be watching all this fucking language. And so he turns off White Man Can't Jump. So I was exposed to Woody Harrelson already.
Okay.
Bleep is needed.
I love that you're not to rag on Grandpa here, but to get you to stop watching a movie with terrible language, he used terrible language.
That was the 90s in a handbag, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went. I can definitely recall my parents doing the same thing. You're not watching this fucking shit. This is garbage. Excuse me, but you were the one that showed me Porky's, Dad? Now you're mad at me? What's going on here?
And swearing at me about it.
Let's go ahead and fire up the trailer here. So if you're new to this episode, this is the one where we break down the original trailer, get in the box office numbers and critic response, and then we do the full review on Wednesday. So this is usually our shorter episode. So you're going to go on the YouTube and type in Kingpin original trailer, and you will be looking for the one that says Kingpin official trailer number 1, Randy Quaid movie, and it's by Movie Clips Trailer Vault and has about 61,000 views. I will give a 3, 2, 1 click countdown, and we can watch it together. JD, are you ready?
Dude, I am torqued and primed.
All right, let's do it. 3, 2, 1, click.
From the idiots that brung you Dumb and Dumber.
You wouldn't happen to have a Phillips head screwdriver, would you?
He's the man with the rubber hand. Creepy. He's the Amish kid with the golden arm.
Whoa! You could be a champion. I'm just not interested. You suck!
Now, these two pinheads will teach each other
You just feel it. Oh!
about life in the fast lane.
You're about to embark on a great adventure.
Does anyone else want one?
No, I'll take a couple jugs. Mugs.
Woody Harrelson, what have you been doing all these years?
Drinking.
Randy Quaid.
This is pretty good fun for only $2.99 a minute.
Vanessa Angel.
Get your hands off me!
And Big Bad Bill Murray. On July 26th.
Watch the door.
Get your mind in the gutter.
I will pay you $1 million to sleep with your friend here.
Kingpin. Are you still drinking?
No. I don't. That's behind me now. Why are you buying?
All right, JD, I'll let you go first. What did you think of the trailer here?
So holy moly, like the puns in this trailer they're out of this world, right?
Yeah.
Get your mind in the gutter. You're damn right I will. In the bowling gutter. I don't know how the Farley brothers wrangled a movie to get. I mean, Woody Harrelson's pretty world class. Bill Murray's definitely world class. Randy Quaid's on the upswing. Vanessa Angel, as you so eloquently put while we were watching the trailer, swing.
Nobody could hear that, but yeah, in the background, I was like, holy moly.
Let the record show Kyle swang when she came on camera.
I sure did. Swing.
I'm super stoked about watching this movie. Like, the comedy in this movie is so good. The trailer it doesn't give too much away, but it sets up the story for its comedic elements, which I think is pretty typical for 90s movie comedies, for Farley Brother comedies. I think that,
real quick, you're going to have to start pronouncing their name correctly, though.
Is it Fairley?
Yeah, it's the Farley brothers.
Damn you. All right. I'll take the criticism.
I got bust your balls when the opportunity arises. We'll take it right in the old nuts like they do in the trailer.
I'm not a cunning linguist.
Now, I love there's so much slapstick humor in this movie here, or even I should say in the trailer here, and just the way that they portray Randy Quaid is like this just dumb idiot Amish kid that doesn't know anything. Woody Harrelson's losing his hand. He needs a Phillips screwdriver to put it back on. Then he's in the bed and she's like, "Hey, get your hand off me." She pulls up his hand. It's not attached anymore. Like, it's so goofy. And I don't know. Do you think they played too heavily on the goofiness? Do you think that, is going to be something that pays off for them? Is it something that's going to be maybe hurt them at the box office?
Okay, we're talking box office. Yeah, I feel like the box office numbers potentially didn't come to the foul line as our second bowling movie, so we can quote bowling terms. But I don't know. Like, I don't think it's too goofy. They definitely rely on physical and slapstick. Yeah. I don't remember the scene of his hand getting, Shocker. There it is.
Shocker, yeah.
I don't remember the scene of him giving the plastic hand shocker to Vanessa Angel being in the final film.
Yeah.
But, I do worry about what the budgetary numbers and what the box office numbers looked like for them. Because I feel like, one, bowling was, even, like, nowadays, I don't think many people go bowling. And even in the 90s, it was like a select group of people. It wasn't everybody. I mean, maybe it was 75% of the population were bowling savvy.
Go ahead and tweet JD your hate if you're a bowler and he just crapped all over you.
I'm a bowler too. I love bowling. I just don't know how that translates into film. Again, this is one of my favorite all-time 90s comedy movies.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll jump into the box office here so we can discuss this in more detail. But so Kingpin debuted at the box office on July 26, 1996, distributed by MGM with a runtime of 113 minutes and a production budget of $25 million. This has to be all cast, right, JD?
They've got one hell of a cast to show for it. Again, lane time and bowling shoes were not cheap.
Right.
And if you didn't bring your own ball, you didn't bring your own shoes, you were paying for a day of lanes, like that's easily a couple $1,000s for a day of fun.
Yep. And this is definitely right after the Farrelly brothers had knocked it out of the park with Dumb and Dumber. So they could probably go to the studios and ask for more money. And I think that definitely is probably part of the reason why the budget's so high. Now, Kingpin opened to 1,956 screens and debuted number 5 at the box office, bringing in $5.5 million in week 1. In week 2, they would drop one spot to the number 6 hole and bring in another $4.5 million over the weekend, bringing their 10-day total to $13.7 million. JD, do you think the schoolyard effect was in play here?
First of all, I don't like that you called it the number 6 hole.
Why'd that make you uncomfortable?
Well, I mean, most human bodies have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes.
I could see number 2 hole bothering you, but 6, come on. Let's be adults here.
I mean, I've never been in a hotel room with that many people.
Real quick, schoolyard effect or no?
I want to say no. I feel like this movie was too adult for the schoolyard effect to take effect.
Okay.
It's just, again, having seen it opening weekend and having understood maybe 3% of the jokes in the movie, I feel like the schoolyard effect did not take place for it.
Yeah. And you would be correct. So Kingpin would stay in theaters for only 4 weeks before dropping down to just a few hundred screens. In total, they spent 10 weeks in theater and would make $25,023,424 domestically, making back exactly their budget. And then an additional 7.2 in international box office, which brought their worldwide total to $32,223,424. JD, are you surprised at all that the numbers aren't better, knowing that this is a cult-like status with legit Hollywood, box office actors here? Bill Murray, who has done fantastic throughout his entire career, and also Randy Quaid and Woody Harrelson.
I want to say yes and no. I'm surprised, reviewing the movie now as an adult and just enjoying every aspect of it and looking back at, Harrelson and Murray and Quaid's careers and to be like, oh my gosh, we get this comedy gem. It's like slam dab in the middle of the 90s. But yeah. I'm not totally surprised in that it was a very peculiar movie. And I don't think that it necessarily has achieved cult-like status in the same way that bowling counterpart The Big Lebowski did. Nowhere near that.
No, definitely not. But it's kind of misunderstood in that same way, though.
Ooh, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
Now, let's take a look at the top 10 movies the week of July 26, 1996. Number 1 at the box office that week was A Time to Kill. Number 2 was Independence Day. Let's kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy. Number 3, Phenomenon. Number 4, Courage Under Fire. Number 5 was Kingpin. Number 6 was Super Cop. Number 7, The Nutty Professor, which I do an amazing Nutty Professor impression if we ever get to that one. It's worth listening to. Number 8, The Adventures of Pinocchio. Number 9, your all-time favorite, Multiplicity. And number 10, Fled. JD, any big standouts on the list for you? And I can think of 2 off the top of my head for you.
Dude, that is a competitive mother effing weekend.
Yeah, it was.
At least for me, like I could have gone to that movie and seen. I'm sorry, let me say that again. I could have gone to the theaters that weekend. If I jump into the DeLorean and head back, I will see 8 movies in theaters that weekend.
Yeah. Man, how hot at the time was Randy Quaid with Independence Day and Kingpin at the same time?
I didn't realize that. Like he's red hot. His bum is tingling.
Nice. Nutty Professor, I think, was in like week 10 or something at that point. That's why they were kind of far down the list there. Multiplicity, I think, actually debuted that weekend at number 9. It was not a real box office killer, but I know that's a movie that you really like. Anything you would like to add about Multiplicity here?
Well, first of all, that will be a future episode.
Hey, can you imagine the poster that I'm going to put together for Multiplicity?
I can
with just
now.
your face on like his body 14 times like it is on their poster.
Fully torqued, ready to go, ready to see that.
Yep. That's going to be exciting. But yeah, I mean, just if you go down the list, I mean, the first 5 movies here, I love all of them. A Time to Kill, awesome drama, Sandra Bullock, Samuel L. Jackson, before he hit that part of his career where he just yells the entire time. This was like good Samuel L. You got Independence Day, which is awesome. Phenomenon with old butt chin Travolta. Courage Under Fire is an amazing movie. Kingpin's hilarious. Like, it's like Murderer's Row here.
And don't forget Super Cop. Lest us not props all to be had to Super Cop.
You know, I never really got into Super Cop. Please tweet me your hate, I know. But, I mean, JD, sell me on Super Cop. Why should I be a bigger fan of that one?
It's Super Cop. Go climb onto your roof and then put a rocket pack up your butt and jump off the roof because you've not seen Super Cop. Like, do you want that or would you rather see... I don't know. I mean, like, it's Super Cop. Come on. Super Cop. What's better than a Super Cop? Turbo Cop? No, that's not a thing. Come on.
Nutty Professor. I don't think that movie holds up at all, but just to get back in there, I've been saying this line for my entire life. Man, I talk that fork between the crack of your ass, Cletus. I've been saying that for like 20 years now.
Hercules.
Yep. Hercules. Yeah, don't let the gray hair fool you. I ain't no teleworker. I don't know what it means, but it's funny.
So essentially, the Nutty Professor like gave complete steam to everything Tyler Perry ever did.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he watched that like, you know, probably as a teenager, and it was just like, oh, I'm just gonna make movies exactly like this.
It adds
and
up.
Do really well. Miss Medea goes to jail. Miss Medea has a Halloween. Like it's essentially the same movie.
Medea goes to a gangbang. No big deal.
Was that in the family video back section?
Yeah, behind the saloon doors. Okay. I mean, probably. I don't know. Somebody told me that once. I have no idea.
Let's talk some critic and audience response for the film here. We will use Rotten Tomatoes to gauge the response of the audience and the critics. And just to confirm, I have not sent these numbers or anything to JD ahead of time. And I'm assuming, JD, you're not cheating? You don't have them up in front of you here?
I do not. I'm not even wearing pants right now.
Very good. Hopefully you have underwear on. Let's start with critics. How do you think the film was received critically?
Okay, this is a unique movie because we're in the 90s comedy wasteland. But we have amazing actors.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say the critics didn't come to bat, and I want to say the critics didn't respond because the Farrelly brothers, as you like to call them, have a reputation of some pretty slapstick, just fart humor, which I don't think this movie is. I'm going to put the critics at 40%. I'm going to say that they responded well to the acting, but they didn't necessarily respond well to the overall final product.
Okay. Great. And then how about the audience response?
I feel that this movie is misunderstood, but I feel as the years went on, the same way that the critics may have potentially responded positively to the acting, that somebody in 2018 can be like, holy moly, this is a movie where Bill Murray is an aging bowler competing against Woody Harrelson, who has a plastic hand. Like, it has all of the elements for great shtick, which, again, I love this movie. So I feel like the audience probably responds more positively, but not in the same way that they did to its counterpart, The Big Lebowski. I want to give it a 62 from the audience. Because, again, like I don't think that people necessarily engage with the story, but they're at least have a positive experience watching. Okay.
So you got 40 and 62. The actual numbers here were 50% rotten from critic and 69% from the audience, also rotten. So it doesn't sound like that's much of a surprise to you. I mean, you're pretty much right on.
Yeah, and 69 it's not, I guess it could be a rotten number. 69 could be a rotten number. It depends on the party present in the hotel room.
Very true. Very true. I do have some critic reviews here that I'll go through just to kind of touch on a couple of these here. So Mike Clark of the USA Today said, with maybe 25 belly laughs, the brazenly crude Kingpin is often uproarious, but be forewarned that its creators apparently conceived it underneath a limbo bar. How low can a funny guilty pleasure go? What did you think of Mike Clark from the USA Today?
I still can't. I'm still laughing at the line about the stenchy 69 hotel party. I'm laughing at my own joke still.
That's awesome.
It's not awesome. I can't stop laughing. Because I'm picturing Bill Murray and Randy Quaid in this like really weird hotel gangbang, and there being like some smelly fish taco in the middle, and they're like, "Do we leave? I don't know." People are responding. I don't often laugh at my own jokes, but I can't breathe.
You got a pretty nice Joker laugh going on there too.
Thank you. Oh my god. Okay. Because the hotel scene with Chris Elliott.
Oh god.
I'll give you $1 million and oh my gosh. Okay.
Can you repeat when we go through that on the review?
I can't wait. I cannot. Yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be so good. Can you repeat your question?
Yeah. Mike Clark of the USA Today said, with maybe 25 belly laughs, the brazenly crude Kingpin is often uproarious, but be forewarned that its creators apparently conceived it underneath a limbo bar. How low can a funny guilty pleasure go? What did you think of Mike Clark here from USA Today?
I think that's a little bit of a low blow, because I don't think that this movie necessarily resorts to a lot of the fart humor that we've seen in the past. I think that there's more intelligence and there's more aspects of it being a sports movie. And I think the character performances shine a lot more than just their jokes. You know, there's a shit cloud coming. Like, come on, that scene was hilarious. Name one other movie that talks about a cloud of shit.
No, I can't think of any other movies like that. I found this review really interesting because if we go back to our Tommy Boy episode, which I believe is episode 4, Roger Ebert crapped all over Tommy Boy. But in Kingpin, he gives it 3 out of 4 stars. It says, good taste, prudence, intimity had no place on set. The Farrellys cut no corners and took no prisoners. Kingpin provides the release of many kinds of laughter, including the most rare, disbelieving. What'd you think of Roger Ebert?
Yes, that is a perfect description of this movie.
How do you like this movie that much, but hate Tommy Boy?
That's the gems that are hidden in this movie. From even the soundtrack in this movie is pretty fantastic. Like there's a lot.
I don't doubt that.
Okay,
This is weird to me.
Let the record show I enjoy Kingpin better. Fight me.
Okay. Maybe we will. JD, what are you looking forward to most when we dive into the full review for Kingpin on Wednesday and we talk more about fish tacos and 69 in the hotel?
I'm definitely. I think Randy Quaid's performance is very underrated in this.
Mm-hmm.
Like the innocence that he portrays and the journey that he goes through is hilarious. And at the same time, the juxtaposition between the journey that Woody Harrelson goes from, because we see him just like completely plummet with like a jetpack up his anus, and he comes from the ashes and he has like a resurgence. And the whole time, Bill Murray is the perfect asshole.
As he usually is.
Thank goodness.
So we will be back on Wednesday with the full review and joined by our special guest, Jesse. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, and all full episodes are up on YouTube. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/backintimepod. And all other social media is just at backintimepod. You can also email us at backintimepodcast@gmail.com. Also, don't forget to support our sponsor, Bunny17 Media. It's Back in Time code at checkout, saves you 15%. But it's that time of the episode to climb back into the DeLorean. We'll punch in today's date and return back to present day. We'll talk to you on Wednesday. See ya.
69hotelfishpartytaco.com.